guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be reacting to a video called 15 Things You Didn't Know About Norway. So I have to say I don't really know much about this country. I know that they're in Europe and it's very cold, and they have the northern lights and they are rich. That's about like the only things I know, but I don't really know much about like the culture or actually anything. I also know they have like beautiful landscapes, but again, I'm excited to actually learn more about this. So let's check it out and comment, like, and subscribe.
This is Travel Tuesdays. Every Tuesday we present you with another incredible country. Today we're looking at 15 things you didn't know about Norway. Welcome to alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get informed. Hello Aluxers, and welcome back to our channel. It's good to have you back here with us today for another video created by our team here at alux.com. In our sights today we have Norway, the Scandinavian country with lots of history, cool designs, Viking ancestors, and a growing economy. Topped with natural, beautiful landscapes and lots of oil they export, it's easy to see why Norway is the ruling country in the peninsula.
There's just like little
With a population of a little over 5 million people, the country is mostly inhabited in the southern region due to the north's harsh climate and tall mountains. It's said that the first Vikings originated from Norway between the 8th and 10th centuries, and nowadays the country is one of the healthiest and happiest in the world. Having lots of natural resources and a clever way of managing them made Norway a model almost nobody managed to replicate. If you're new here, welcome. Be sure to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at Alux. With all that being said, we've done some digging and found some incredible things about this country. Here are 15 things you didn't know about Norway. Number 1. Norway exports tap water.
Tap water?
Yes, you heard that right.
What?
Tap water. In Norway, the water is so pure that you can drink it from the tap with no problems.
Oh wow,
Their
I like
water comes mostly from glaciers and natural springs that don't need much filtration. You can even get their tap water at restaurants for free. Having such praised water supplies, they managed to market it and sell it as artisanal water all over the world. We're talking about Voss Water, the Norwegian brand selling bottled tap water. This story was uncovered in the documentary film A Drop of Luxury, where one executive from the brand admitted that the water is pretty much tap water in a fancy bottle. Number 2. Norsemen go to Sweden or Finland to buy cheaper alcohol. If you're planning to take a trip to Norway, make sure you bring enough money with you, because even if it's a great country to visit, it's also extremely expensive when it comes to housing, dining, transportation, and pretty much everything. The minimum wage is around $25 per hour, so money is not a problem for the locals. But even so, they still like to buy cheaper items like food or alcohol. People travel between Norway and Sweden just to get cheaper alcohol and basic groceries for years. Police stopped a truck at customs one time because it was transporting $2.8 million worth of undeclared garlic across the border from Sweden, as reported by the Irish Times. If you ever visit Norway, maybe stock up on some alcohol and snacks just to blend in. Number 3. Famous movies and TV series were filmed there. Europe has been the set of a lot of movies and TV shows lately. More and more productions seek out old medieval cities, green plains, or high shores that cannot be replicated in the studios. Such locations later become major tourist attractions and offer people new destinations to travel to. Norway is also on the list of famous sets, with movies like The Danish Girl, The Empire Strikes Back, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, Ex Machina, or The Golden Compass being shot fully or partially there. If you want major FOMO design, watch Ex Machina, as it was shot in a breathtaking Scandinavian home. Number 4. They started a wealth fund worth $1 trillion. Norway has quite a small population, and the northern part is not very inhabited, since it snows all year round and temperatures are below zero almost all the time. That's why most of the population lives in Oslo, the capital city, or the surrounding area, where they can be closer to civilization. The country relies on its oil extractions from the Northern Sea very much, and you'll be surprised to find out that most of the profits from the oil industry are secured into a wealth fund, which is now worth $1 trillion. This money is used by the population and for the population. As of 2017, every citizen has $192 from that fund, and it keeps growing. While your country might be in debt, Norway has money in a trust just in case something happens. Number 5.
Okay, good
the
for
richest
you.
man in Norway is John Fredrickson, with a net worth of $7.3 billion. The person we're going to talk about now is most probably not known to a lot of people. In fact, a lot of billionaires are not out there in the media, on the red carpet, or at major events.
Yeah.
They usually run their businesses from their office or on their plane. John Fredrickson is the richest person in Norway and has a fortune of $7.3 billion as of 2018. And most probably only people in Norway know about him and his business. He made a fortune out of oil tankers and shipping, and he owns the world's largest oil tanker fleet. He also has major interests in other oil-related businesses and will probably make some more investments in the near future to secure his place in the industry. Number 9. Norway is not an EU member. The European Union is a political and economic union of 28 member states that are located primarily in Europe and was established in 1957 through the Treaty of Rome. Back then, only 6 countries entered the Union and 7 more would enter as the Union grew bigger. Norway was a part of the second batch of countries that wanted to enter the Union in 1972. The decision was negotiated for almost 2 years between Norway and the rest of the member countries, but was ultimately submitted to be a referendum vote, and the population voted against the EU. Since then, Norway declined another EU invitation and is still not a member of the EU, but remains one of the richest and most prosperous countries in Europe. Number 2.
I think that's funny because I would say, why wouldn't you want to be a part of the European Union? I think like the benefits are good, so why wouldn't you? But I think it's maybe a little bit of a flex on the part of the citizens and the part of the country to say like, we voted no, we made a referendum, and they were like, we actually don't need this. And then they were like being offered, like they extended the invitation of like, hey, like, wouldn't you guys want to like join? And they were like, thank you, but no, I'm good. Again, it's a bit of a flex maybe to say like, no, I'm actually rejecting your invitation, because most countries, I think, yes, most countries would say, yes, of course. Like, again, it's good benefits, so why wouldn't I? So it's a bit of like, it's a flex of them actually to say like, no, actually, like, we're good, but you know, thank you.
10. Oil is very expensive in Norway, even though they produce and export it.
Shouldn't it be cheaper?
In case you didn't get it by now, Norway is very expensive. It's up there with Switzerland, where a small bottle of water is at least $5 at the supermarket.
What?
Topped with housing,
$5?
groceries, utilities, transportation, and dining out, you end up spending a few €1,000s just on your daily life expenses. If you paid attention, we mentioned earlier that Norway makes most of its money and profit from the oil industry. They extract the oil from the Northern Sea and then they export it. That easy. You would expect in this case to buy 1 liter of petrol at the gas station for a couple of dollars since they have so much of it. But no. Norway has the highest oil prices in the world. 1 gallon of petrol is at least $7.82, almost 3 times more expensive than in the US. If you want to find out some more about another northern country, make sure to watch our video 15 Things You Didn't Know About Finland. Number 11. Norway is the first country that banned tree cutting. Just Googling Norway on the web or watching the movies we mentioned a few minutes ago will get you the full picture of just how beautiful and raw this country is. Lots of untouched nature, natural reservations or parks, Aurora Borealis, and Lapland are just a few of the wonders you can experience in rural Norway. And in order to keep the landscape as Mother Nature intended, the government decided to act and passed a law that banned tree cutting across the whole country. Deforestation is a major problem, and a lot of regions face it, and it's affecting our global climate too. Let's hope more countries look up to Norway and act quickly. Number 12. The fjords area will be the first zero-emission zone at sea. Norway's majestic fjords have become popular tourist attractions over the years. You can't visit Norway without having a cruise over the fjords in the same waters as the Vikings once sailed. But since they're so popular, it means more and more people are visiting, and that means pollution levels are growing. The area is now being transformed into a zero-emission zone at sea, and no cruise ships and ferries are allowed to go there if they're not electric. This measure shows that tourism can be dangerous to a lot of beautiful areas, and no money can bring back what people and pollution destroys. Another thumbs up for Norway. Number 3. They knighted a real
penguin?
penguin.
What?
There's a penguin in this world that is actually a real knight, with decoration, full rights, and an army to his little feet. It might sound like a Disney production, but it's real life. Brigadier Sir Niels Olaf is a king penguin who currently resides in the Edinburgh Zoo, Scotland, and is the mascot and colonel-in-chief of the Norwegian King's Guard. He's the third in his family to inherit the title, and goes by the title Niels Olan III. He got his knight title in 2008, and in 2016, he even got a promotion at the zoo, and they made him a brigadier. You'll see Sir Niels Olav walking in front of his army of men, and a tiny decoration can be seen on his wing. We're now waiting for the written biography and the movie to be made. Number 14.
That's incredibly funny, like seeing the context of like the penguin over there, just like walking, because it looks like he's actually understanding what's happening. But I have questions, like who came up with this idea? I have a lot of questions, but aren't penguins shouldn't be like in the cold, as in like in the snow? How come that penguin is on the cobblestone street? Isn't that bad for them? I have questions about the penguin care.
Oslo donates a Christmas tree to Trafalgar Square every year as a thank you for the World War II support. World War II had a lot of its battlefields in Europe. Long story short, the Germans went on a quest to take over the countries around them and expand their territory, but were not very successful in the Scandinavian peninsula. Norway was invaded by German forces in April of 1940, but they were not able to capture King Haakon. He was later exiled in London, where he tried to take his country back. With the help of Britain, he managed to take back Norway from the German occupation, and in order to show his gratitude, the king promised to give a Christmas tree to Trafalgar Square every year. Since then, every year the Christmas tree you see lit up in Trafalgar Square is a kind gift from Norway.
It's a region.
Now that's what you call diplomacy and good foreign policies.
It's so
Number
funny.
15.
Yeah.
IKEA names wardrobes and hall furniture after places in Norway. IKEA.
What?
The place where couples fight over bedside tables and curtains for the living room. It's probably one of the most recognizable brands in the world, and yes, we know it's Swedish. What you might not know is that IKEA has a strict rule of naming its objects and furniture items. The rules for naming were devised by IKEA's founder, Ingvar Kamprad, who struggled with dyslexia and had trouble remembering the order of numbers in item codes.
Okay, that explains
The name
it.
IKEA itself is an acronym for Ingvar Kamprad Almterid, his family's farm, and Gunnarid, the village he grew up in. So,
that's nice.
bathroom articles are named after Swedish lakes and watercourses, bed textiles after flowers and plants, and beds, wardrobes, hall furniture after Norwegian place names. There are also other Scandinavian references and a lot more of Swedish culture, but Norway is also a part of IKEA culture. Now that was it for our Norway story, Alaxers. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Let us know in the comments below if you visited this beautiful country before, or if you're planning to visit. And since you love our videos and watch this one all the way to the end, we're rewarding you with another fact. Here it is. We all attribute sushi to Japan. They invented it. There are a lot of types of sushi, and if you hadn't been to a Japanese restaurant or have never eaten sushi, just remember that it contains different types of fish and sometimes even vegetables. One of the best known sushi is a salmon roll, or nigiri, but the truth is, salmon was not popular in Japan until the 1960s and 70s. Norway brought the fish to Japan and showed them how to eat it raw. After their invention, the Japanese began to experiment more with salmon, and now lots of sushi have salmon in it.
Almost all of them.
Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, this was very interesting. I didn't really know much about Norway. I feel like, okay, I'm getting the sense of like the country. I have a question that's like a little bit like, what about the IKEA thing? Because I'm wondering about it. Why is it like just Norway? Because I get obviously all the Swedish, names, it's like the flowers and stuff. Yes, because IKEA is Swedish and the founder is Swedish. So of course everything's gonna be Swedish. But what's up with the Norway thing? Like, is it? I mean, they're close, but also Finland is also close, and so is Scandinavia. So why do they? Why does Norway get like, I don't know? It's like a place of honor in IKEA. That's weird. Is it just because they sort of like have run out of things, like in like Swedish things to actually name them? They were like, we need another country because we're like we don't really have a lot of like we're losing. Although I don't really know. Because again, it's apparently it's like flowers and also I think like bodies of water, rivers. IKEA does have a lot of things, obviously, and has obviously I can't even imagine how many things they have had throughout the years. Obviously, because they all the pieces of furniture and stuff, general stuff that they have come up with, all the things in general they had come up with like throughout the years. So does it at one point is the fact that we don't really have like we lost it. Like there's not enough rivers, flowers, plants, whatever in Sweden, and now we have to like look the other way because we ran out of stuff. So maybe that's the case, and they had to like expand. And at some point, are they gonna have to expand also? When Norway, like also we ran out of like Norwegian stuff, so now we have to go, and then they'll go to Finland, and at one point in like 60 years they'll be like, we have to go to the other places in Europe. We'll go down to maybe like Germany, Denmark, and other places nearby. Again, I'd like to actually know the history of this. And also, speaking of history, the whole Christmas tree situation, I think is very funny. Not obviously like it was a bad thing, clearly like no, not good, but how come you actually make the connection between, oh, thank you. The king was sort of like in exile there, and they apparently like the British help him actually like take their country back. So it is sort of like a war related thing, and obviously I don't know, conspiracies, war, whatever. It's a whole like I don't know, it's a whole other thing that having to do with wars. So how come you make that connection between wars and conflict to a Christmas tree? It's like, I'm gonna thank you by giving you a Christmas tree. How was like, what exactly did they actually help him with? Was it like, we'll book you like a safe passage, and I don't know, it's like, why a Christmas tree? I get it's more like it's a symbol, right? Like I'm not giving you, it's a country and it's a king. I'm not giving you money. I'm not giving you, I don't know, but I'm thinking what else could they have given? Maybe I'm gonna name a city or a place in my country, after you. I think that's a lot of people actually do that, right? Like a lot of countries have done that in the past. Of like, oh, we got help, so this bridge is named after you, or this city, or this building. But I don't know, maybe it's nicer that way because I think in the future, you don't know if those buildings or those cities can change their names, and places can actually like you can change the names. So maybe is it because you can sort of like forget about it. That's I think what I want to go with this is it can after 30 years, 40 years again cities cities don't disappear, but they change the names. Not common, but it happens. But maybe like the actual symbol of like gifting you a Christmas tree like every year, it tells me that you're in my mind. It's like when you're giving, again, it's like Christmas, when you're giving someone a present on usually during Christmas, or just if you're one of those people that actually like to give like presents just because, hey, I'm thinking of you. That's what it means, right? Like I'm thinking of you, and that's why I'm giving you something, a token of my affection. But it has to have happened like yearly, or usually that's what happens. Like it happens yearly, because again, it's like I'm thinking of you, so this is a present. So it is maybe of like maybe I can see myself, or I can see the situation being more, I'm more thankful to you, and that's why I'm not just like naming a city, naming something and forgetting about it 20 years later. No, it's like it involves remembrance. Like, no, actually I'm remembering you every single year because I remember I have to give you a present, and it's a Christmas tree. Maybe it's a whole thing about like maybe it happened during Christmas or during December, and that's why they were like, instead of like gifting them like some piece of jewelry, or I don't know, like a crown jewel or something of the sort, maybe let's just like give them a Christmas tree because it's Christmas. It's like, yes, but I would love to know the history behind it all, because it is quite, I don't know, it's quite interesting to me. I do have to end up by saying like the whole, obviously Norway is a gorgeous country, like all the natural, the natural like landscapes are beautiful, all the lakes, all the water, like everything's it's beautiful. And obviously it's a country that I'm seeing it and I want to visit. I'm like, I'm seeing everything that looks gorgeous. I want to go visit. Maybe not that much, like I'm apparently the prices are crazy. Obviously, for them it's not really a big of a thing because they are locals and it's like purely like they obviously they earn a lot of money. But if you're a tourist and you're not used to all these prices, of course you're going to be like, wow, like, this is pretty expensive for me as a tourist. So, you need to actually have a lot of money to actually visit this country. But besides that, taking that out of the equation, you actually do have to plan this vacation and you need a lot of like dispensable income. But I'm seeing it. I'm like, wow, it's gorgeous. Now, obviously, I want to go visit because everything looks beautiful, especially I don't know if all the landscapes they were showing, not all of them, but I think all of like those beautiful isolated places with like a lot of lakes, water, and just like gorgeous roads where you have like those snowy capped mountains. I'm guessing because of how they were talking about this, it's, in the northernmost part of the country. Not a lot of people live there, and I'm guessing the fjords are actually in that region or close to there. And obviously those are the places that are probably get a lot of like more tourists, because not that Oslo or the other cities are like, they're not, it's not that they're ugly, but I think obviously if you want to visit Norway, I'm thinking of like the Northern Lights, I'm thinking fjords, I'm thinking this, and not the actual city, because even though it's a city, like, yes, of course it looks pretty, but there's like less of a interest maybe of like spending less, you want to spend like fewer days there, because obviously you want to go and see the things that you don't really get to see, as in like those incredible nature like landscapes. But obviously, again, that's my train of thought, and I'm not alone in this. I think a lot of tourists obviously are like that as well. But they were like saying, yes, it's bad because obviously there's like a lot of like cruise ships. I don't really know the situation with the fjords. They say like you can actually get there. I know it's like they obviously it's in like base. Like you need actually like boats to actually get there. I don't know if the case for all the fjords. Maybe yes, that's maybe like the nature of a fjord. It's like you can't actually get around there, walking or by car in a road. You actually have to go in a body of water. So it's ferries and it's boats and stuff. And obviously those are like the most touristy places. But it's bad, obviously, because of like the carbon emissions, and because they're not electric, or most of them, especially I think like cruise ships are not. I haven't heard of a cruise ship that's electric. Maybe it does exist and I just don't really know about this. But I'm thinking more like smaller boats. Obviously, yes, they can be electric, but as in so ferries. But actually, like cruise ships, I've never heard of them. Would love to know. There are actually some cruise ships that are electric, but I would think it's not most of them. So obviously it's bad because they're contaminating the environment. And they were like, it's funny that because in the video, the narrator was like, oh, it's obviously good, tourism, good. A lot of countries love it because obviously, you're spending money there. So great, we love tourists. But in this situation, when you have like such beautiful like landscapes and they have been preserved, for a great number of years, and then obviously a bunch of people start coming in, that's bad because obviously they start to change the landscape, whether you want it or not. I think, again, it's the little things, because maybe you're thinking, oh, but I'm not doing anything. I'm just visiting and I'm taking like great care into like the whole nature thing. I'm not leaving all my trash. I'm just, visiting and I'm just seeing this and it's incredible and whatever. And you're not getting the sense of like, I'm doing something bad. You're a tourist, you're just like, I'm being a mindful and a careful tourist. But like they say, no, it's the little things. You're not actually thinking, wow, the carbon emissions that the boat that I'm in or the cruise ship that I'm in is actually impacting this environment negatively. You're not actually thinking because you're actually like, no, but I'm being good about this. I'm not doing anything. So it's a thing of like, wow, it's the little things, and I think it's like they're one step ahead. Of course, they're actually feeling it because they're realizing, no, they're being contaminated. So it's a bad thing, and that's what we're making some changes. But ultimately, I think again, it's like you're thinking, oh, countries love this, love tourists, it's money. But you can see, no, actually I don't think tourism like it's that good. Maybe in some cities, yes, but I think when you have like this sort of like almost virgin like landscape, it is bad, and you can actually see how many like how bringing a lot of people and a lot of tourists can impact them negatively. So on one hand, I'm like, and again, I'm like, well, and I just said I want to go visit, but on one hand, I'm like, you know what? It's good that they're sort of like limiting access, because it would be awful to hear, in the future, that all these incredible like landscapes and the fjords and all of that has been, they're something bad's happening with them, and they're, I don't know, the glaciers are melting or something. Like, no, that would be a bad thing. So it's like, no, actually, like take off access to tourists. Actually, on second thought, maybe actually stop it. So again, I'm like maybe negatively impacting myself, because I'm like, oh no, in the future I'm not gonna be able to visit. But I think ultimately it's for the good of like preserving this incredible like views, that, you know what, maybe it's a good thing. I'm fine with this, because ultimately, you just want this preserved, because it's been around for like 1,000 years, and obviously even more than 1,000 years. So maybe the people that actually live there are the ones that actually have to take care of this, because again, it's like very few people live there, so they're not impacting the environment, and obviously they're gonna be like super careful about it. So it is a thing of like, you know what, maybe it's good, and not a lot of people can go there. And I can see why, obviously Norway is a country that really does care about this, about preservation, because we can see it with like the cutting of trees, that apparently they have banned the cutting of trees, because they realize it's changing the landscape. Like, we are cutting so many trees that probably in the future we're not going to have enough trees. So again, it's like those are the kind of things that I think are more like not a lot of countries think about this, or maybe they do think about this, but they're not proactive enough to actually do things, of some sort that may seem like a little bit, wow, they're banning trees. Like, it's quite harsh, right? Like quite a harsh like measure, but it's like, no, those are the things that you should actually, like, it sounds harsh like in theory, but in the future, like the future country and the future like views will thank you, because sometimes you actually do need to be hard about it to actually conserve these places. So I think I really do like that. And again, on one hand, bad, because maybe in the future we're not going to be able to visit those places, but on the other, well, there's always videos, right? And there's always pictures and videos, and I would rather know that these places are being incredibly preserved, but they're banning tourists, and I would rather that than just people just going around willy-nilly like, yes, I went and I saw it, because at the end of the day, obviously it's one thing to see it with your own eyes, but if that's the price we have to pay, we're not able to see them in person, but the thing is being preserved, then it's a risk, and it's a price that I personally am willing to pay. But that was it for today, and I'll see you soon. Bye.